All right, so let me get my bearings together here. The 8th, or 8 hours Sunday. Let's see. Where are we, bro? Last Sunday was here. Oh, right. Okay. So, quick recap off last stream, right? I don't know how many people attended that stream or watched, but pretty much I was talking about how we we basically distributed up here. This was like a very classic distribution schematic in an overall downtrend. We popped back into if you guys don't know like what you're basically looking at, okay? Let me get rid of my recording tool here. So, man, let me get rid of this bullshit, dude. We don't need this. So pretty much this gray box is a fixed range. Like if you draw a fixed range from the point of exhaustion, let's see, on I think on 1 hour here. If you draw like a fixed range profile on starting here, you'll get a very similar range where this is the value area low, value area high, and the green line is the POC. The red boxes are more of your outer range low and range high. And then of course this is contained within like your higher time frame range, right? So range low being somewhere around like 53 to 58, and the range high going to be somewhere between 74 and 78, yeah? So it's basically like a range within a range within a range. Let me go back to 2 hours. So pretty much what we were talking about last stream is how we distributed, we got acceptance back into value area high, which means the order flow objective was to come back to value area low. We bounced perfectly off of that. And I actually was talking about how in last stream, if we basically found support at value area low and reversed the trend being this overall downtrend from the 74K high. This was a great area to long, right? Could have taken a long really after we reversed the trend here and we had to break a structure, could have longed right here. Or once we found acceptance back over the POC, you could have pulled the trigger on a long basically right in here. And that basically led us to retesting this previous 74K high. But as we did that, which if anyone's in the VIP chat, I've been talking a little bit there more recently, we didn't actually rotate back under value area low or like this more like higher time frame range support area, yeah? We basically found this as support, and especially on the lower time frame, if I go on the 10-minute chart, you can see here, like we've basically just been trending upwards. And I actually took a couple longs here. I took a long, which I didn't even post in any server. Like I just took it on my own. I longed like here. I didn't really like how long it was rendering for and just closed it. And then took another long, I think it was right here. I took a long right here. And I basically closed the long. I cut it a little too soon just because I was so zoomed in on the chart. I was on like the 2-minute time frame, and I just didn't like I didn't like this wick right here on the 2-minute. So I cut the long. I just expected rotation to continue back lower, but honestly, like on the higher time frame, this trend was never broken, and we expanded upwards, right? Like my original TP target was 72.7, which it got hit. So, but obviously it doesn't matter. Like I wasn't in the trade. But the idea played out. And honestly, anyone shorting this, I'd be curious to know why you're shorting this. Like there's no sign of weakness here, like at all. Even after we mitigated some supply up here and we rotated back over this NPOC, like there's no sign of weakness. Bro, oh my God, no way I got stopped out just for these faggots to send it back. Okay, anyways. So yeah, I don't know like why, like if you were shorting this, I would be curious as to know why. Not a whole lot of weakness going on here. So in terms of the whole macro picture, not a lot has changed. My bias has been the same since beginning of February or middle of February, in the sense of we just continue to chop higher. Now the thing that I don't think most people get is we have a long time until really a quote unquote like ideal low, which is sat somewhere out here in late April, early May. So the thing is, right, like this market can drive people crazy. We can literally do this, right, and then rotate lower, right? We can 100% do this. We can just continue to come up here and then just chop up here for a bit. Maybe we just pop over 78K and then just nuke from here. right? There are so many things we can do. We have basically a whole nother month of this low time frame phase being bullish. So in my opinion, like until you have a daily close under this candle, there's no reason to be bullish in the intermediate future, right? So basically over the next few weeks, in my opinion. Even if we basically just do this from here, as long as this low holds on the daily, there's no reason to basically, in my opinion, target lower, right? And even if price comes below this candle and still pops back up and closes on the daily, that's fine. Like it does not matter. As long as you don't lose this low on the daily, that's all I'm really looking at, right? And because of that, like again, the market can just chop people to pieces, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we basically do this. Would not surprise me at all, right? Over the next month. We basically come up here, we tag 74, we nuke it all the way back down, we rotate back to 78K, chop up here for maybe a couple days, and then just rotate lower and just completely nuke, right? It also wouldn't surprise me if we just continue higher from here, take out 78K, and then just basically chop, maybe just slowly down, or just kind of range here for a bit, and then just, nuke into late April, right? I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. But all I do know is that basically this entire thing in the broader scheme is your higher time frame range, and basically everything in here is very irrelevant for an actual market structure shift, right? I would not be calling for much higher than 78K unless you got a daily close above. If we did, then yeah, of course we can target like 82 to 84K. I don't think that's going to happen in this phase, and I say that just because for people that haven't been here and tuning into the streams the last couple of weeks, we're not really chopping in a high time frame POI. Like, yes, this is this entire thing over here, right? This is a massive high time frame support zone, but it hasn't actually taken out where the real demand is sat, right? And the real demand is sat external to this base, which is at 49K. Yeah. So in my opinion, it's not very probable to call for higher targets until you take out that demand and you actually chop at a lower area for a bit, and then maybe from here we can target 84K, maybe even 93K, right? But that's kind of my bias, right? And I don't really have any reason to change that bias because nothing has really, changed. We've basically been shopping in this range for a month and a half, driving people crazy. I literally have a range within a range within a range, right? Like it's unreal. But yeah, my thoughts and my biases have not really changed for much of anything. Low time frame bullish. If you're asking what I expect over the next few days, like into this week, I would not be surprised if we take out 74K. I do not think New York Open will be held tomorrow. I do think that just based off of this overall trend that we've had for a week now, it's very bullish. There's been absolutely no break of structure on this trend. So I don't think there's any reason to target lower until you have price accepting back into value area low, right? As soon as you get price accepting back around 69K and basically closing, let's see, 4 hour. Yeah, right. As soon as basically you get price accepting back below 69K, basically right here, you can expect a full rotation back down to, I would not say value area low because I don't think this holds. I do think we would rotate back to the NPOC right around 63K. However, I will say there is a single print here on the lower time frame. I think I found it on the 10-minute. There is a single print here around 66K. So it is very possible that if price does accept back below value area low, this is our next bounce from here, and then we just chop back higher. I have no idea, right? I don't have a crystal ball, but this would be a great area where I would be longing, right? So basically, right, like if price does accept back below 69K, the only long interest I would have besides the NPOC here at 63K would be at the single print at 66K or like 66.8. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do think we're going to come out and take 74K out first, in which case I will be building a short position, right? Which that target has not changed. In terms of like a high time frame swing short, I will be starting to clip in at 74K. A lot of people see like, and these are mainly the people that don't follow what I say or like attend my streams. People see a super wide stop and they're like, bro, like your stop is like, $8,000. Like this is retarded. And it's like, no, this is not really my stop. This is really more of my area where I'm going to clip in, right? So especially on swing shorts, I will continue to twap in to average out my price. I have such a wide quote unquote stop just for the idea to play out, right? Because really, unless like you got a daily close above 78K, there's no reason for price to come anywhere near 84K. But I will 100% start swapping it around 74K, 74.5. And people also ask why I'm biased for 78K. It's because of this right here on the daily. These candles right here. I do think basically if you're treating like, if I go on the daily, if you're basically treating like, let me get rid of some of this bullshit, dude. So if you're basically treating this as your main range that you've been trading in, yeah, the demand is basically sat external to this range, which is at 78K, which is right over here. Yeah. Right, and so that's how I'm playing this. I'm basically expecting price to rotate up out of this range, grab all this over here, and then rotate lower. And my stream is lagging like crazy, which is awesome. Or my trading view. That is also why I don't think it's very smart, in my opinion, right? I'm not telling people how to trade, but for me and how I trade, I would not be setting my stops or like a, like my stops at 74K or 76K. I do stops. Sorry, like entries. Like basically like if you're playing a short here at 74K and your stops at like 75, 76K, I think it just gets blown out. Right, absolutely gets blown out. And I said the same thing over here, where people were trying to short 72.5, and I was like, this is just gonna get blown out. Like it's not gonna stop. And sure enough, it rotated back up to 74K. So, yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin. I kind of like ran through a lot, so I'm gonna answer like all the questions now.